Hey everybody, now it's my turn to talk about Gratuitous Space Battles, all on me. So, my brother Regrin decided to ask me for a challenge, and I built and tested some designs for this little dust-up we've decided to have. So, let's begin. So I will be using the Rebels for this little fight because they have some hulls that do what I need them to do. We will start, of course, with the fighters I will be using. Meet the Biter. It has engines, it has rockets, it has a maximum speed of 4.31. It also is the fighter that has the highest speed boost in the Rebel arsenal. And what I found in my own experimentation against enemies with heavy tractor units is that tractors can maybe slow fighters down for a little while, but the faster they are, the shorter the duration of slowness lasts. And once you get to fighter speeds of 4.3 or higher, that tractoring doesn't really last that long at all. This is the only fighter type I'm going to be using because I know he likes his backline frigates, and a bunch of these, even if I have to rely on lucky shots, are probably going to be able to put a hurt in what he's got. Again, this is something I've also tested against more heavily armored frigates in challenges and in the later DLC maps, which actually have that sort of thing. So, I think this is something that might work for me. Next, we will take a look at the frigates I will be using. Now, what the Rebels have as far as frigates go is cheap frigates, small frigates, frigates that are actually easy to get a pretty high average armor on. So, meet the Slayer. It has a decent speed boost, as all Rebel ships do, and a decent hull integrity boost. And in this case, I've also given it 2 ion cannons. And I've filled the other weapon slots with frigate-powered armor. A good power generator so I can actually use the weapons I put on this thing. And 1 frigate engine 3. Now, this ship has an average armor of 20.19, which means not only will fighter rockets not penetrate it, but also cruiser rapid-fire lasers won't penetrate its armor either. It's basically designed to only really take hits from the really heavy types of cruiser weapons. I'm not sure there are really many frigate weapons that can penetrate its armor aside from frigate plasma, and this thing can't really be reliably hit by that either. Now, for the second frigate, there we go. This one is a bit more expensive, but that's because of what it's going to be lugging into this battle. It has 2 frigate tractor beams, which are plenty for what I need it to do because Regdren doesn't really use fighters offensively anyway, and even if he did, it's not really going to do much against the armored frigates I've put together, and it has a pair of anti-fighter missile launchers. This will be kept more towards the rear, but it also has an average armor of 16.16, which means, again, fighter rockets not going to do much. And the way I achieved that was because, well, it has an armor boost. This is really to deal with any stray fighters that are cut free from whatever he plans to throw at me. And even if he does use fighters offensively, again, it's not really going to help him much. In theory, anyway. He might have found some way to actually use torpedo fighters effectively, in which case, well, hats off to him. He'd be the first. Okay, now we need to take a look at the cruisers. Now, I know he sometimes uses guidance scrambler beams on his ships, but he only ever uses one of them. So my theory is this, which is to hit him with as many real warheads as is humanly possible. So each of these ships is equipped with 5 multi-warhead missile launchers, which makes for 20 missiles per volley, each of which is real and will do damage if they hit. The trick with multi-warheads versus the fast missile launchers that he favors is that these actually have a significantly higher maximum range and a somewhat higher fire interval as well. They may not be as fast, but there are lots of missiles, and each one does 11 damage, so that's potential 44 per volley minus missile interference from any missile defense he might have picked up along the way. However, even if half get through, well, it's still painful. This is just what I figured out. And for the frontline cruiser I put together, well, let's see here. Now, where did I put them? Ah, the Fury. Now, I had considered fast charging shields, but the truth of the matter is that they don't actually recharge that much faster. Regular shields have a rate of 7.0, and fast charge shields only boost that to 8.0, so it's not really worth the extra cost and whatever. And I equipped it with ultra heavy armor, because I felt like it. And this ship has 3 of those rapid-fire cruiser lasers, but this may not be enough to penetrate whatever armor he's loaded up his ships with, so at the front I decided to equip a light plasma launcher. The fighting probably won't get within its minimum range, and it has a significantly higher fire interval than regular plasma and a much better chance of hitting. Plus, it can penetrate basically any shield and any armor he might be using on his ship, depending on what faction he's using. Even Alliance ships really will take damage from this thing and lose average armor strength and open them up. They also will hit more often, so really light plasma launchers are much more effective over time than heavy or maybe even standard plasma launchers. My frontliners probably aren't going to be as heavily armored as his, but they won't be alone up front, so I think it'll work out. It might work out. It's worked out so far. Oh yes, something he may not expect is that I actually put 2 guidance scrambler beams on each cruiser. So that may be more missile defense than he was expecting. That'll be an interesting surprise at the very least, even if it's not the most effective thing. I'm really just experimenting to see what works. Well, to see what he does here. I could super min-max this, but that wouldn't be nearly as interesting to me. I didn't make any changes. What are you talking about? Okay, so now I am actually going to build the challenge. There's actually quite a bit we can do here. We can set the background, we can set the anomalies, we can set the supply limits. If I wanted to build something really intricate here, I could, but let's just have a nice little straight-up bash. Just me and him, nothing in the way. Budget 50,000. Pilots, 150 seems good. And map size is going to be crucial because that determines the time it'll take to contact and how long long-range weapons are really going to have an effect. So we're going to set it at 3,000 pixels per side. And now, the final step, deploy our forces. Yeah, sometimes my mouse accidentally double clicks. You don't want these too close together, but we're going to be setting up 7 of each of these cruisers. Now, formation kind of matters here because we don't want, well, fratricide, basically. And these guys aren't really going to be attacking fighters. The primary priority is going to be cruisers. And it'll be nice for them to attack at, say, a range of, 1,000? You know what, let's make it 950. It's still out of range of their fast missiles anyway. Now they're going to be getting a couple of special orders. First off, cooperative. Second, keep moving. Now, keep moving is incompatible with escort or formation, so we're not going to be using this too often. But theoretically, I know I'm saying that a lot, but theoretically, this will make these cruisers keep the range open and actually move away from enemy ships after a contact, meaning that if Regdun wants these ships, he's going to have to come get them. Okay. There we go. Actually, this guy... Let's let him attack fighters, just for a little bit of a surprise. Now, these frigates are really cheap, so each of these cruisers is gonna get a couple. Okay, that's good. These guys still get to attack fighters because the ion cannon has a tracking of 2.0, and that can tag laser-armed fighters on a acceptable basis. The escort here. And escort. Yeah, that's the problem here. Here. Okay. of these. And they are going to escort this guy. Now let's see how many of these fighters we can send in here. Less than what I'd hoped for. Now I need to make some choices. See, I'm gonna take out this cruiser here. A bit less than what I wanted, but these guys will attack frigates and only frigates at a range of about 343. Also, they get the Last Stand order. This means that if any of them gets damaged and loses their weapons, they won't retreat. They will continue to be a distracting target for any anti-fighter stuff. But let's deploy them in a little deceptive way to make him wonder if these are being used for defense or offense. Okay, special orders for these guys. These cruisers will not be attacking fighters. What they will also be doing is Vulture, which means they attack damaged ships. Cooperative, which means they all shoot at the same ship. And they also get Keep Moving. Not that I expect a speed of 0.13 to actually, evade things, but it's better than sitting still and, shooting off like this is some 18th century musket duel. Plus, I'd like to have these ships keep moving, but since they're escort, they won't do that. Unless I have their host ships keep moving as well. Now, these guys will also get Vulture, because they may not have the firepower to breach defenses individually, so I'll have them concentrate on things that have already taken some pounding. Okay. Anything else? Actually, there is something I can do. Yeah, the big question about deception is, do I move them into a space to make them wonder if these are missile ships? Or do I not do that? Actually, it's probably better to have these on a flank to concentrate firepower and roll up the entire thing. Well, at least that's the idea. Rather than risk the possibility of them spreading their fire anyway. But there's also the problem, should I keep it in the center to respond to any immediate threats? And speaking of which, I'll add another little thing. Retaliate. This means that they'll open fire on targets that are causing heavy damage to one of my ships. I hope I don't need that, but, well, who knows. So, those are my orders. These are my ships. This is my fleet. So, let's see what happens, shall we? Now, let's hope this reaches him. And let's give him an appropriate taunt. Oh, come on, caps lock isn't working? And it's off to the races. Okay, let's see how he responds to that sometime. This was me, and that's all.